Welcome back to the very first official episode of the Transaction Care podcast. My name is Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lilly. My goal with each episode is to demystify the business of real estate as told from my point of view, as well as other voices within the real estate industry around the world. Before we get started, make sure you head to transactioncarepodcast.com to join my TC community. My TC community gets all of the exclusive news. They knew about the podcast probably before some of my family and friends. I'm not going to lie. So you definitely want to join that list so you can be a part of my weekly newsletter. And for more real-time updates on what is going on, what's to come, and how to get in contact with me. Thank you in advance. So with that said, let's get into today's episode. In today's episode, I'm going to take a deep dive into my background in real estate, as well as my journey from day one to today, talking to you here. A little bit about me. My name is Lillian Hernandez, born and raised in San Francisco. Still fortunate to live here. I am a licensed real estate agent and certified transaction coordinator and an active Beehive member. If you know, you know. I have worked in the real estate industry since 2004. Yeah, do the math. What started as a part-time job to fund my 19-year-old McDonald's and seedy habits eventually turned into a full-blown career and business almost 20 years later. I had pretty much every job you can imagine within this company, and yes, I did stay there for the majority of my early career and up until I quit my job in 2018. But what about transaction care? When did transaction care come to be? Well, what started as a one day, I wish I could work from home. One day, I wish I could be my own boss. One day, I wish I wouldn't have to wear a bra and these tight slacks to work every day. Eventually manifested into, wow, this is really my life. It was around 2015, 2016. I was sitting at my desk and much like most of us, just frustrated with how things were going in my life and wanting a change, wanting better, wanting something different for myself. And I was starting to get antsy and wanting to spread my wings and see where I would land. So around this time, I started to change my habits. I started to change my lifestyle. Simple things such as taking the bus to work instead of driving to save money on gas and car repairs. Listening to podcasts every morning about people that were entrepreneurs, self-employed, doing side hustles to eventually turn into their full-blown careers and businesses. I was doing everything in my power to invest in myself and to find a way out and to eventually live this dream life that I envisioned for myself. Life has an interesting way of making you uncomfortable to focus on what is actually of value and important to you in that moment, or at least for you to focus on the assignment at hand. And that's exactly what life handed me in that moment. Leading up to eventually quitting my job, things just weren't going right within the office. The culture was just, I felt suffocated. I felt like everyone was against me. And looking back in hindsight, I think that was just God and the universe's way of telling me, like, it's time to go. What more can I do to tell you it's time to go? But of course, in my Aries, stubborn ways, it took me a while to fully listen and eventually take that leap of faith. And I'll get into more of the details of that story, of my quitting story, in another episode from this one. It was a story. It was quite the journey, to say the least. So I took that leap of faith and I risked it all on myself. I play roulette and I basically bet all of my chips on myself. And I've yet to turn back with any form of regret. When I first started my transaction coordinator business in 2018, my approach was just to figure it out as I go. I didn't really have a solid plan. I didn't really have an understanding of, or at least a full understanding of how to run a business. And it's been a lot of trial and error. It still is. I feel like I do have a better grip on things today. But as I elevate and expand, there are many areas in my business as well as within myself that I am still learning and figuring out. And in the last couple of years, I found myself becoming restless, feeling unfulfilled, eager to do more, help others, but I just didn't really know how. In fact, I was actually ready to quit real estate entirely. in 2021, and something in me, that tiny voice in the back of my mind and my gut was saying, give real estate one more chance. One more chance. That's it. I sat with that. I prayed on it. And I said, okay, I'm going to give this one more chance, but I'm going to do everything my way. I'm not going to do it the old way. I'm not going to do it the way people are telling me to do it. I'm going to approach this with my lens, with my experience, with my knowledge, and give it my all and the best I can and see what happens. I changed my entire why. I figured out a new game plan, fresh strategies, and a whole new way of doing business my way, which is what led me here. Transaction Care, the show. I have a YouTube channel. I create content across all social media platforms, and now a podcast, and a budding community of mentees and supporters that is growing alongside me. And I'm loving every minute of this journey, even the fearful unknowns. I may not know where this journey is leading me to, but I do know for sure that I am on the right path. The next few episodes, stick around. I'll be going into some frequently asked questions that I get as a business owner, as a transaction coordinator, as a social media content creator, as well as talking about my very first year as an entrepreneur, which honestly, looking back, was a hot mess. You can even hear the sirens outside. It's confirmation that yes, my first year of entrepreneurship was, wow. I'm just grateful to be approaching year 5. So stay tuned. Weekly episodes every Monday. Head to transactioncarepodcast.com to join the TC community, as well as listen to the podcast, learn more about me, what I'm doing, and also head to my YouTube channel, TC with Lilly. It's also under Transaction Care. I'm giving you more transaction coordinator content there, as well as the same motivation, inspiration, all of that. I also do live streams there, live Q&As, and I'm having fun. I love doing all of this content as well as talking about real estate. I'm learning alongside with you all. I have a lot of big ideas for this podcast, as well as some unconventional guests you may not expect to be on a real estate podcast, but the conversations will definitely be fruitful and provide value in your journey with real estate. And if you would like to be a guest on the Transaction Care podcast, send me a message, leave it in the comments, DM me on social media at Transaction Care, and tell a friend. It's important that you leave comments, you subscribe, you press play, run it back a few times, as well as let the charts know that we exist. And I want to shout you out as well. So hit me up in the comments. I will shout you out on my social media, in my email, newsletter, here on the podcast. And I just want to continue to build community with you all, share my story as well as share other stories within the real estate industry, and to provide as much value and understanding on a topic that isn't considered the most entertaining. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. So until the next episode, care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon.